Hey Formula One fans, welcome to this video of IFF1. We are with our host and friend Naren Harwani over here, we are going to have a small conversation on the preview of the Bahrain Grand Prix. With me, I have our other friend Krishanu Gushal over here. We'll just run on the topic real quick. So, Naren, what do you think about yesterday's race? Ferrari back on top?
Yeah, Ferrari back on top. I think 3 years. I was just reading today, how long it's been. Like 2019. 2019 was when Singapore Grand Prix was when last Ferrari won, and it feels really good. Great to see a different team in the front, apart from Mercedes, Red Bull. I think it was a long time coming. Ferrari. I think they were very vocal earlier in 2020 about their focus, and 2021 as well about the focus being entirely on 2022. So I think they've been really bold about that as well, and they have kind of shown their intentions right from the get-go of the 2022 F1 Championship.
Yeah, that's very right. And they left the development part also of 2021 car. That's kind of okay, leave it. We'll focus on the new rule change. That hard hitting which they received in 2019 and 2020, it's all paying up in 2020. But the more talkative point would be the losing of Mercedes and the Haas and Alfa Romeo scoring in points, very up there, right? Rishan, you want to share your
Yes.
thoughts on this as well?
Yes. Actually, the main thing which I saw in yesterday's race was actually Mercedes were actually really struggling with the race pace, because Sergio was simply able to get past Lewis Hamilton with the use of DRS, and in the past it was a thing of concern because the Mercedes has such strong straight line speeds and cornering abilities. So it was a bit of shocker to see them, but it was very nice to know that they were there to pick up the pieces when Red Bull left it. So nothing to Mercedes. They are a team which will bounce back. And yes, surely happy for Alfa Romeo also. And good Bottas back up from P14 to P6, I guess. And Haas also came back,
Good point.
and what a welcome drive.
Yeah, good point about this DNFs. Naren, what do you think? 3 DNFs in the Bahrain GP and all were Red Bull engines. We can call them
Yes, and
right?
yes, the Red Bull powertrains officially now. So very unfortunate. I think, even when Max Verstappen faced the issue, I think Sergio Perez was he was there in the race. He was almost getting to get good points for Red Bull, but then even he was P3 if I'm not mistaken, and then even he got overtaken by Lewis Hamilton later when he spun. So very unfortunate for Red Bull. Let's hope they can. Surely they have the pace, and hope they can kind of, make the most of some other team screwing up in some other races. So, it's, I think, part of F1. I think sometimes it works, and sometimes I think you've got more bad days than good days in F1. So I think it's just a one-off for Red Bull, and they'll bounce back for sure.
But what about the Haas? Their eventually their gamble paid off. They did not do anything in 2021, did not spend a single token on the development.
Yeah.
2022 is what they entirely focus on, right from, lights out in 2021. 2022 was their goal. It's paying off. But I personally feel, it had not been K-Mag in the car.
Yes.
Had it been somebody else, would not have gone up to that particular mark, What do you think? That little bit extra pulling off from the car is very important. K-Mag did that, right?
If you don't mind, I would like to add it here.
Sure.
Actually, in Formula One, experience counts, and K-Mag has that ability in himself. And he knew the team, he knew the guys, and he was briefed up about the car. And seeing the time he got in testing, even though Haas were given an extra hour after the testing was over, but the way he was able to interact with the car, and the car was responding in his way, it was actually very nice to see. So experience, in a way, counts in Formula One, I'll say, because Haas actually needed that.
Right. Naren, your thoughts?
Yes, I think. Sorry.
Were it for Mazepin, he would not be able to get into the points.
No,
That's what I was saying.
it's not about Mazepin. Had it been any other driver, I think it would have been the same thing. The
Like
experience matters.
you saw with Schumacher, right? You saw with Mick. He was not able to get into the points because of his experience.
That's correct. Correct. So Naren, you echo the same thoughts as well, or you have some alternate perspective on that?
So yeah, I think Haas has got a very eventful start to the season. Like like everything was not going in their favor, and then out of a blue, like Kevin Magnussen came back. I think he was not in the whenever I read about who are the was nowhere to be seen. Like there was either drivers like Nico Hulkenberg or Oscar Piastri or their reserve driver Fittipaldi. So it was kind of very unexpected. Came back and it was very positive as well. Like as soon as they announced, I think the energy in the team entirely changed. Like they already know K-Mac. K-Mac spent 4 years in the team, which I think is really important. I think consistency and someone who knows the team and the team knows the driver, I think that's really important them to kind of up their game. Uh, I think it all fell in their favor. K-Mag returned. I think he qualified also P1 during one of the testing days, and showed his pace right from the get-go. The car is responding well, like Krishna mentioned, and he was also pushing to the limits. During testing when he put down the fastest lap, but I think we'll take that. I think even qualifying, he qualified P7, like ahead of a Mercedes. That's like very
That's a
very
big
bold.
thing.
Yeah, very bold.
He
I think
split the Mercedes. He split Mercedes.
yeah, he split the Mercedes, so that's very bold, right? I think Mercedes is known for qualifying pace and race pace as well. But Ferrari were the favorites this going into the Bahrain Grand Prix, and Haas also using Ferrari engines and quite a lot of Ferrari parts as well. So I think top 6 or top 10, yeah, top 10. I think most of them tops out of top 10. I think 6 for Ferrari engines, if I'm not mistaken.
Six. If top 11, 6 were Ferraris.
Yeah.
Correct. So before I go back to Ferraris, they obviously we have to include them into this conversation mainly. I just want to talk about Bottas. Do you think Mercedes would be banging their heads, especially seeing what Bottas can do with Alfa Romeo? Probably they could have used him a much better way all the seasons he was with him. Do you think they would be, slightly eating a bit? We could have done better with him.
That's a very good question. I think everything has an ending, right? I think Bottas, he kind of was very faithful to Mercedes, and he played the role. He played the team role for good 5 years, if I'm not mistaken, with Mercedes, and he was the number 2 driver. Like, although I would not like to say that, but it is what it is, right? He didn't have a lot of pace, like comparatively to Lewis Hamilton, and I think being teammates with Lewis Hamilton is very difficult. Even in Max Verstappen, at least in 2021, was very difficult. And we've seen Nico Rosberg, and even I think Valtteri Bottas mentioned after 2021 championship, like now I know what it takes to be Lewis Hamilton's teammate, right? The pressure, it's a very high pressure situation to be in. It's no driver would want that kind of pressure to be upon him when he's teammates with the likes of Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen. I think now.
Right.
It's an open field, like it's there's no pressure on him. He just needs to do his natural game, right? I think that's really important. That atmosphere, not a big team, Alfa Romeo compared to Mercedes, very small team. It's like a family there. Atmosphere, what they usually say. So very different atmosphere. I think very important as well for any driver to perform well. So I think very positive. I would see the positive side of it. Even for Mercedes, I think they went for a long-term perspective. From now onwards, given that all other teams have young drivers, right? Max Verstappen, Red Bull, Charles Leclerc, Ferrari, Lando Norris, McLaren. So everyone's backed younger drivers, and that's what even Mercedes did. I think that right is why they showed Toto Wolff like backing up younger drivers for the.
But just one point that I would like to add is, do you think they would not be repeating the same mistake with George Russell? If given an opportunity, they would back George Russell and they would give them an equal opportunity, to have that go at Mercedes, maybe have that throw that cat in the pigeon kind of thing. So that would shuffle the program a little bit, and probably charge Hamilton more. He will not get compression, kind of thing.
Yes, I think it's really important, both sides, like, even for Mercedes, I think, like I said, long-term perspective, good for Mercedes, like, even you don't know after 2022 what Lewis Hamilton's going to do. And I think on any given day, given a situation, we don't know whether George Russell will be carrying team orders, or, I think it's all depends on what situation arises in a given race, right? And I think Mercedes acting up accordingly, and I think it's good for Lewis Hamilton as well. He definitely performs and gives his best. Like, I think he's the best driver, one of the best drivers for sure. He's got one of the best cars. Skills are top notch, and I think he's very lucky as well. I think most of the races, like, yesterday also Bahrain Grand Prix, we've not seen until the end, I think, and he kind of took P3 out of nowhere. So
The racing gods favor him.
yes, I think that's very true. That's very true.
We'll,
In
we'll,
Abu
we'll,
Dhabi, it was Max.
yeah, we'll catch Krishano's viewpoints on that particular point
Sure.
as well. I'm sorry I interrupted you, Krishano. Go ahead. Share your
Uh,
views.
It's actually a very interesting dynamic going on at Mercedes right now, because the team has never faced this challenge before. Fighting for P3 in a championship is not Mercedes things since 2014, I must say, because the level of domination they've had in the sport since 2014. I'll say that this is like getting into a midfield fight with other teams. But seeing the order being shaken up so, I'll say, so aggressively after the regulations change, like Ferrari is on top, Red Bull is still there. Red Bull still might have some issues with their power units and all. But all things aside, Mercedes has their performance in that package, because when the rumors were coming in about what was happening with the no side pod concept with Mercedes, people were saying that the car is expected to go around 1 second faster. So yes, the car has performance, and I don't think the people at Brackley or Brixworth are fools just to tweak something around and just experiment with the car in such a tense and close championship. So yes, the things are looking good for Mercedes right now, but they have to get on pace. It will take time, but they'll get on pace.
So I'll come back to this development theory which you have put out. Very good point. Let's have a small discussion around it. So Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes. I'll take these three teams' dynamics. All three of them have gone with a totally different concept of aerodynamics. Okay.
Yes.
So far, Ferrari is on top, we can say, with the result that we have seen in Bahrain GP. Okay. But do you think Bahrain and Saudi, the next weekend race, would be a good judger for how the cars are behaving until unless we hit more technical sectors like Australia, Spain, and more traditional or technical demanding circuits? Until and unless we reach there, we can eventually say, okay, now Ferrari has hit the nail properly. They are going to be there. They are going to score the points. Can you say that? Naren, we'll start with you first on that.
Yes, I think it'll be very important to wait and see, at least for the first few races. I think it's too early for sure. But I think even from testing, I think Ferrari was very, there. They had a really good testing. Like, maybe even if they might have not had timings, I think they had a good number of laps that they covered, good mileage they had in the testing, and that's what was required. They tested a good few parts, and they had, I think, maybe top two mileage. So I think they were there in the news right from the get go, and even in the race, right from qualifying, there were even practice sessions. I think Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz both topped all three practice sessions, and even the qualifying as well. So I think that's fairly good enough. Lap, a fairly good enough time that we have seen Ferrari right at the top. So I think we can say that, okay, Ferrari are surely the contenders for the championship. at least for the constructors and maybe for the drivers. But I think it's too early for sure. I think Red Bull, I think that faced issues. I think any team can face issues given in any race. So uh, I think definitely, I think we'll wait for another two races for sure to kind of get on final conclusion, like know who's the leaders amongst the for both championships.
I'd like to add one point here, Naren, about the tracks and all. You see, in 2021 also Mercedes had these juggles about the pre-season testing, all the sagas and all, but they still managed to win the race because they had the strong showing what they were. But you see, the 2021 regs also hit them hard. The car literally had no rear downforce to turn wheels in Bahrain. So there might be a thing that Bahrain is a little bit off for Mercedes for the moment right now. And Jeddah we saw last year, the Mercedes had way more pace than Red Bull over the last season. Although the cars are different this year, but I don't think the engine which has been dominating the sport since 2014 will suddenly go out of power so early. Like class leaders is something which I go through, and yes, for sure the struggles are real. The car is experiencing much more porpoising, but since Bahrain has a different track layout than Jeddah, and Jeddah being a new circuit, I think we could see a different grid order or a different competitive order from the top three. Like anything can happen in these races because the development curve is so steep right now that we actually can't guess who's going to be on the top come Abu Dhabi in November. That's
I
what
have,
that's what
so that's a new word for poisoning. We did not see that anything in Bahrain. Good news from the development end of that thing. Um, uh, we'll quickly do a preview for Saudi GP. Who do you think would come up on top, Naren?
Ferrari, I'd select Ferrari for sure.
Ferrari,
Carlos, yeah.
pure engine power, right?
Yes. Pure engine power, and they seem to be the favorite for Saudi as well. Yeah.
Krishanu?
Jeddah will be a tough one to call because it's the fastest street circuit with sweeping corners and long straights. I think the Ferrari has an improved power unit from last year. Since they introduced the new hybrid system, the engine is. I'm really that they are winning because it's been a long time coming for them. But still, somewhere in my heart, I want that Mercedes should come on top. And I know that Mercedes historically haven't gone so well at the street circuits. And seeing Max Verstappen's last lap in qualifying in Q3 in Jeddah, I should have had some edge. But since the cars are new and everything is so unclear right now, I think the top three will be occupied with these three teams only. I don't see any other team disturbing them because McLaren right now are facing the issues of their own. They have their own issues. I don't want to get into them but yes, in Jeddah, I think it will be a close one between the three because the race pace is very close, very different for all the teams.
Right,
Because
right.
in the practice also we don't know what fuel loads and what type of programs everyone is running.
Correct. So yeah, I mean, we don't want to hit the disturbing nerve of McLaren failure or Williams not getting up or Aston Martin struggling, because that would be a lot of technicality. There will be a lot of things in the background which is going on, which we might not know what exactly is going wrong with McLaren after what they seem to be very strong on 2021 and this thing. One key figure, Naren, you think we are missing out in Jeddah is last time when we raced in Jeddah, it was November, somewhat winter, right?
Yeah.
But now we are in March. It would be a little bit more hotter and humid climate there,
Yes.
and
Exactly.
but it would give a little bit of a doubt in people's mind, especially when the first practice is going to be in the day, second practice in the night again, FP2, third one again FP3 would be in quite little bit of chiller climate, but not that much. considering the weather in Saudi Arabia, what it would be. But I think it would be, you know, stopwatch, trial and error kind of race that we might get to see. What do you think?
Yes, I think definitely that temperatures will make a lot of difference for sure. But I think it shouldn't kind of affect the change, the pecking order a lot. I think still I feel that it's going to be the likes of Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, and Lewis Hamilton for the battle for the front.
Right, right, right. Great, great.
Uh,
Yeah, Krishan, you want to add something?
yes, I wanted to add in these type of races, where the races at night and the free practice sessions, one of them is during the day. FP2 is the most representative session of them all, I would say, because the time is absolutely perfect to just lose some fuel, lock on the soft tires, and just go on and get some performance laps in. So session will be the most important. That will be the most sensible session, which I'll say. And rest apart, the race pace will be a little bit. I think it is a debatable issue right now, because these cars are reacting very differently to each and every surface going on. So what type of surface it is going on, what type of climate and what type of winds are blowing, it all affects these cars right now. So I think that top three, as I said, the top three will not be shaken up. But yeah, in terms of the practice sessions, I'll say FP2 is the most important one, the most representative
Nice.
one.
Of course, that is there. So we were just taking a poll, kind of who would be on top. Naren, you said Ferrari. Cristiano wants somewhat a Mercedes. I will not
Yeah.
complete the trio, but we'll go 2-1. I'll say Ferrari from my end. You know, so it's definitely we're closing on Ferrari at this
Minority
time.
Yeah, I think it's kind of changed the like a different team coming in the front and fighting for the lead and for the for the wins. I think that's really important for the sport as well. I think last year is what I think we kind of was kind of hoping for that, and kind of happened, or in whatever way it happened. But I think it's really important for the sport as well to have more teams backing in the front for placements.
Right, right, right.
Coming
So
from a Mercedes fan, I'll say I'm loving that Ferrari are winning. And to be very honest, I'm a fan of the sport. Okay. So
Yeah.
even if I want Mercedes to win, but I still want some of the close battles to happen. So
we are all
even if
fan of the sports.
yes, even if Ferrari wins, I'll have no doubt. No, I'll have no regrets over it. But yeah, it will hurt a little bit to see Mercedes lose.
Of course, and being the fans of the sport, I think we can take a wrap over here. Thank you for your time, Naren, on the call today. Thank you for discussing the Bahrain GP. Hopefully, we'll have a jam-packed year ahead, and hopefully, lots of surprises and lots of winners and new winners will have, and a close fighting like what we had in 2010 and something like that. So thank you
Yeah.
very much. Thank you, Naren. Thank you, Krishano, on your time. Sign off from
Thank you very much.
IFF1. Enjoy your F1 racing. Thank you.
Sure. For the discussion, really appreciate it. And it was great having the discussion with both of y'all, and looking forward for many more discussions. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Yep.
Have a good night from
Cheers.
IFF1
Bye.
here. Bye.
Yep.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.